This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSPORT Fan Network. TalkSPORT. Powered by fans.
Styles with a save. To the second here. A classic counter-attack, and Gibbs White puts Nottingham Forest 2 ahead. Here's Wood. 1-0 Forest. To the goal. Has made an even bigger difference there. Nottingham Forest have snatched the lead at Anfield.
Hello, welcome to this edition of Red Side of Trent, here to discuss Forest 1-1 draw with Crystal Palace at home at the City Ground leaving Forest in 17th place, joint on points with Leeds, 6 points ahead of West Ham after their collapse against Chelsea at the Bridge. Delighted to be joined by Christian Brown and Reese Lane. Reese, how are you first of all?
We pressed it at the same time where you went to news, I went to news. So yeah, I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, good, thank you. How was your last story of Sunday dinner?
Well, I didn't have Sunday dinner, which you and Danny Wetton gave me some pelters for in the ground.
Yeah,
but,
I did. Yeah, I've dropped you in
The
it.
pasta was lovely, and I think Emma enjoyed the Sunday dinner. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I had to drop you in it on a Sunday afternoon. Christian, are you well?
Yeah, still good here. Thank you. Yeah.
Good. Let's start off with the team. Reese, I mean, we kept the same side that obviously beat Brentford and drew with Arsenal. I mean, was you quite surprised that we didn't maybe go a bit more attacking with a winger rather than Dominguez, purely because I thought Palace were there to be got at?
Yeah, a little surprise. But I guess from Dyche's perspective, it would be if it's, not broke, don't kind of fix it kind of thing. So I understood it. And I guess with Dominguez playing, it does try and nullify the threat of Munoz, who's an absolute flying machine in Teak. And I mean, he's probably one player who's got more energy than the Dominguez, so he can get up and down all game. So I understood it. So yeah, I mean, the rest of the team at the minute, it picks itself, doesn't it? Really, there isn't really anything up for debate, I'd say. So yeah, I understood it, but I also wouldn't have minded if we had gone with 2 and out wingers personally as well.
Yeah, Christian, I thought the game started off quite well. Matt Sells got put into a save early on, but Forest took the lead from a long throw-in, which I've never seen a score from a long throw-in, to be honest. We normally kind of just waste those sort of opportunities, but a good finish from Morgan, I thought.
Yeah, no, he did very well, very, very well. Yeah, we I can't remember if they sort of headed it sort of back into an area, didn't they, Palace, and then it sort of scrambled around and fell for him. But no, he did really well. I thought Gibbs White. I'm sure we'll come to the performance properly in due course, but no, he took it really well. I mean, again, and obviously they say the same about keepers at a near post sort of thing. You have to pretty well sort of get it in from there, but he did. He placed it superbly. Gave Henderson no chance, and yeah. At that point, you're sort of thinking, "Oh, Forest off and running. We've got an early goal. We've all seen that Palace have only got 1 point all season from losing positions. Let's see how many more we can get from there." Because I thought we looked very promising today, which is refreshing to say because it hasn't always been the case over the last few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Reece, I thought after that, although Crystal Palace controlled maybe the game in terms of possession, I thought we were really good on the break. I thought Gibbs White got on the ball in good areas. I thought Igor Jesus was making good runs and was trying to get him opportunities, and we just seemed to not be able to get a good enough chance for that second goal. I don't know what it was, but maybe trying to play the perfect pass rather than the correct pass sometimes.
Yeah, it become a bit of a basketball game, like for me, very end to end. I think both teams were leaving a lot of space. That they got in a couple of times down the flanks, and the problem for them was their choice of ball in the final third was poor because they got into some great areas. From our perspective, I just thought that Jesus, the 2 chances he had first half, he just dwelled on it a bit too long. The first one, you've got to touch that at your feet and just bang it. And he waited too long, and then the 2 defenders got back. And then the second one, he's kind of let run across his body rather than really controlling it. And it's just run a bit wide, and he is unlucky because he does get a shot in and it deflects just wide. But for a man who's been in confident form recently, I thought he would have done a little bit better. That might seem a little bit harsh, but yeah, I think he'll be a bit disappointed if you used to ask him privately. I think he would probably say the same. But yeah, I thought the first half was good. I think what's good is that the last probably few games, bar the Braga game, you can clearly say that the players are playing for Dyche, which is, I think, a couple of points probably over the last couple of months, we probably would have said, are they? And asked that question, but they clearly are, and what I'm seeing at the minute. And yeah, it was all going so smoothly well until we do what Forest do and kind of throw it away, really.
Yeah, well, I'll stick with yourself for the sending off, and Christian can come in and have his opinion as well. But I despise zonal marking for this one reason, because it happened a couple of times with Palace from set pieces where they got a free head on the ball, and Jefferson Lerma, I mean, it's a great ball in by Hughes, give him credit, and Jefferson Lerma's got a free run and he's headed the ball. It was going to go in top corner, but as I've titled the podcast "A Moment of Madness," Neco has exactly that personally, and I generally thought, I was like, bloody hell, what a header off the line at first, and then it's so blatant on a replay, you kind of go, oh, that's quite a good save, but just what? Why do that then and not at the 90th minute? Do you know what I mean? I just felt like kind of, I don't know, it's too instinctive, I guess.
I think me and you, Adam, I can't speak for you, but I think everyone thought he'd headed it off the line.
Yeah, I did.
Everyone was clapping, and then, we seen the referee point to the spot, and we was all kind of like, oh, what's he giving that for? And then we seen the red card come out, and yeah, I mean, there's just no denying it, is there? It's the most Stonewall red and handball you'll ever see, really. But yeah, and some fans will say it's instinctive. I understand that point of view. I'd see it as probably a rush of blood to the head, and people might say that's into the instinctive category, which is fair enough. But look, Neco Williams has been brilliant for us probably for a couple of seasons plus now. So it's one mistake. I can understand that in isolation because he's, like I say, he's been excellent for us. I guess the positive is it would have gone in if he hadn't handballed it. There's no denying that. So it would have been 1-1. Now, watching the game, would you have fancied us beating them with 11 men? I'd say yes, because with 10 men we cause a lot of problems. But to be fair to Palace, I actually thought they played better against 11 men than they did against 10. So with it being a basketball game, you never know how things can go, especially in the Premier League. One moment of quality and teams score a goal. So yeah, it's a rush of blood to the head, but like I said, I'm not going to come on here and slag Neco off. He's apologised for it. He'll know himself. He'll be devastated in the dressing room. And I'm sure his teammates would probably had made him aware before consoling him as well. But thankfully, it didn't cost us at least a point, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, Christian thoughts as well, because Reece makes a good point that Palace were better against 11, but I just fancied us with our bench at least, because you looked at Palace and who did they have? Uche and Klein and the goalkeeper, that only ones that I recognised on there, whereas we had a bit of a plethora of talent to bring on. So
we couldn't even name a full 9, could they?
No. So I mean, your opinion as well on it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about the subs. I think they did a thing on Sky before the game that I think, obviously you had my tickets today, didn't you? So they had, I think the bench had 295 appearances in the Prem. I think 270 of those were for Klein. So do you how sort of inexperienced it was. Yeah, there's no skirting it. It's brainless. It's stupid. You can't. But yeah, Reece is right. We're talking about potentially one of, in my opinion, top 3 left backs in the league last year. In Williams, he's massively overcome the start he had with us. He was, even this season, he's been a shining light. He's probably a good bet for player of the season, I'd say. He's probably been one of the most consistent ones. So you can't really go too overboard with it. But yeah, it was stupid. And I completely take your point as well, Adam. But if it's in the 94th minute and there's there's pressure on a penalty taker, that sort of thing, that's a completely different scenario. I think what annoys me is that, again, it's just before half time we've conceded again. That's 4 or 5 times now with Dyche. So again, that's a recurring pattern of play. That's not these aren't isolated incidents anymore. So that's a clear fragility to our wake up. But I guess to be fair as well, it's not just Williams. I mean, it's the original thing comes from Murillo. Really, we all love Murillo, and I don't be too critical of him because again, what he tried to do is what, all the things that we love him for. We love that sort of, him taking players on and whatever else. But the issue is when it goes wrong, like it did at Anfield and that first season that it did, and obviously yesterday, the consequences are normally pretty dire. However, I do have more issue with both Van Murillo and Williams with what you said, leaving someone back sick unmarked. That's a disgrace.
Yeah, I agree.
This keeps happening as well. Like every single time someone gets, I don't know if it's like a knock on from the Angier or whatever else, but every single time we get a set piece, I know what makes it really bizarre as well. We just played two teams in Brentford and Arsenal, two of the best set piece teams in the league, if not Europe in Arsenal's case. Managed that fine, completely nullified them from that part of the game. But you still get this sense of dread whenever someone gets a corner, someone gets a free kick. It's just like, Forest's going to do something stupid. They'll leave someone unmarked, someone will get a free header. More often than not, they queue up at the back posts. And lo and behold, exactly what happened again today. I also agree with Reece. I think with 11, we beat them very comfortably. I thought they were crap Palace today. In both halves, really. It suited them, it being more of a basketball game, I thought. Their main chance in the first half really came from a bad Hudson-Odoi back pass. They weren't really carving through us that well. I thought, it was definitely there for us, and that's a frustrating element of it. But it's a moment of madness. I think sums it up best, really, because that is literally the dictionary definition of what he did.
Yeah, I think it's the zonal marking thing, because you allow runners to get a running start on our players, and we're all kind of flat-footed, and you're hoping that basically players are just blocking the ball off. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I know it's hipster now, but have we got a set piece coach at Forest, or is one of the coaches doing set pieces?
I don't think we
because
do.
Everyone seems to have. Everyone seems to have a set
someone.
piece coach, yet we don't. Which you've
I
got
don't think
times.
I don't think we had one last season.
Well, we allowed Cooper to appoint one, didn't we, that time? And then we sacked him. But Nuno had quite a lot of staff in it behind the scenes. We actually, the ones you kind of remember was obviously Rui, Pedro da Silva, and the hype man himself, Julio Figueroa. But then there was you look at during the summer, wasn't there? There was a guy who went to Fenerbahce originally with Mourinho, and you didn't really hear about him behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Whereas with us, it's just Stone, Deitch, and Wone, and obviously the goalkeeping coach.
Yeah, I don't know what Billy Mercer and Tony Loughlin. I don't know what Tony Loughlin's doing. His role.
It's always going to get that question is always going to get asked, like it did under Cooper and Ange as well, when you haven't got a specific coach for that at both ends of the pitch. But like Christian said, it's just so Forest, isn't it? We keep probably two of the best sides, well, definitely the best side in the league at set piece in Arsenal. We keep them at bay, and then frustrating again. It's a free header, completely free header.
Yeah. Mason said to me on the way back, because obviously he's played at a decent level, almost made it professional. He says Sells goes completely the wrong way, and whereas Sarr actually probably tells him where he's going because of the way he runs up to the ball. He runs up so straight. He says it's impossible for him to open his foot up to go the other way. But I hate that.
He dived early, then he Sells. I watched it back.
Yeah, dived very early. I mean, and the thing is, if he stays where he is, he'll probably pick the ball up. It's such a poor penalty in regards. It doesn't go anywhere near the corner. It just sends him the wrong way. But alas, we're just getting to a few comments. NFFC 2000 says, solid point, all things considered, get a quality fullback in and pretend today never happened. Got to beat Leeds and Wolves now for me. Otherwise, we'll be juggling that Fenerbahce tie, which is not good. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Brucey says, hello, gentlemen and Christian. Christian, I don't know if that's an insult to you or not. I really don't know. Higgerty says, good performance, but a tough pill to swallow today, knowing where we could be sitting in the table. NFC back to him as well. If Palace had a competent Premier League bench, we really would have struggled to hang on, maybe. Stephen, hello from Clearwater, Florida. What a blown opportunity could have put us some real distance between us and the bottom three. He went on to say hello to you in Florida. Brucey again thought he had headed it as well, obviously, and all that. AJ says Murillo not learning his lesson after Everton at home, which was all we've already discussed. You can't have both things, can we? We can't have our cake and eat it too, where we laud Murillo for going on these marauding runs and everything. But I get it as well in some respects. So yeah, thank you very much for those that got in touch, and we'll get through some more later on in the show, hopefully. Second half, we made a change actually before. So we brought Morato on to bring us back to a back four for Dominguez, and then at half time Angus Gunn came on for his Premier League debut with us. Sells has now it's been reported groin injury. And Callum Hudson-Odoi went off, and that he's been seen in a sling for his arm, and he came on for Ryan Yates came on for him. Christian, what did you think to the changes? More so, probably Yates coming on for Hudson-Odoi rather than anyone else, or maybe Dominguez as well. Talk about that. What did you make to them changes?
Concern really was for Sales. I think I find that again, it's. I think she tweeted yesterday, like it's so typical Forest, isn't it, that we sign a very good goalkeeper in Ortega, literally just as Sales gets his Golden Glove form back. I think you're being very harsh to him with a penalty, to be honest. Again, I think a goalkeeper's got 20% chance of saving a penalty as is, so there's not really much you can do.
Do you think with Sales he might have just had a knock because it was something that was really pushing for, wanted a keeper?
Yeah, I mean it's possible. It's very possible. I mean, but it's just very typical Forest, isn't it? That literally just after saying that about Ortega, well, now we know he's going to be number one because Sales is injured. So, but yeah, hopefully that's not too severe because again, we know how important he is when he's on it, and he's shown that in the last couple of weeks as well. So, yeah, in regards to the other subs, I suppose it made sense in it to sort of go to a box really, because obviously, again, like I said to you off air, once you go down to 10 men. Generally speaking, a point's more often than not the best you're going to get, barring something. I know obviously Brentford beat Villa today, for example, with 10, for example, but they're few and far between these incidents. So I guess it was sort of going to just stop Palace playing. Obviously, that's what having Yates did. We became a bit more narrow, a bit more compact. And yeah, to be fair, I mean, Hudson-Odoi, again, I didn't think it was his best game today, but he was very clearly injured. So I think you could see that the way he was moving, the way he was. He didn't seem right at all from kickoff today. So hopefully his injury's not too severe either. But no, I thought it was a bit odd taking Dominguez off because I thought he's sort of a kind of play you want when you go down to 10 men because of his running, because of his defensive work rate, because of the ground he covers and whatever else. So I was a little bit surprised to see him come off. Then again, he has played a lot of football recently, including like 80-odd minutes on Thursday, which again, I found that a bit odd. I know obviously it worked out for the best because we've beaten 4-0, but yeah, I'd rather either played in Braga rather than last night. But yeah, no, it was. Yeah, I think it was pretty obvious from that moment that Forest were going to seek to contain. And to be fair to us, we did a pretty good job of that. I say. I know obviously Palace didn't really play at a tempo which particularly troubled us. I thought everything was It was quite pedestrian. Everything was in front of Forest. Forest just kept their shape and disciplined, and but they started to test our team. And to be fair, the subs that came on, they all did that. They all held their ground. They all. Cover the hard yards, as Dyche likes to say. They really got stuck in and put a proper shift in for us.
Reece, would you have liked Dyche to roll the dice a little bit, or was you happy for what he did?
I mean, I thought Palace were there for the taking. I don't think anybody can deny that. But Sean Dyche is the type of manager who will think bank that point first. And let's be honest, let's say if he'd gone for it and would have got caught on the break and lost 2-1, we'd probably all be now sat on this podcast saying, well, that was ridiculous to do that. So he's probably just say, look, we'll take a point today. Is it ideal on the face of it before the game? No. But with 10 men, like Christian said, it's 1-1. At least with the difference with Brentford is they were 1-0 up. You know what I mean? We were at 1-1. It's not like we've actually done a job. We've actually stopped Palace scoring with 10 men in terms of after the penalty. So, and to be honest, I never thought they looked like scoring. No. I thought they were very poor. I think their kind of plan second half was to keep doing it to Will Hughes, who, as much as I don't like Hughes with being ex-Derby, etc., he's a solid Premier League footballer. And then he just started walloping it, didn't he? And I don't think he got any near the target. So yeah, I mean, when you're down to 10 men and it's 1-1, I think if you'd have said to anybody in the ground at half time, look, you get a point out of this game, I think everybody would have turned around and said, yeah, we'll take that. We've gained a point on Leeds, we've gained a point on West Ham, and another game's gone down. West Ham would probably been looking at it at half time, thinking, Forest might lose this, and we've gained another point on them. So we've all said it's about matching and bettering their results, and we've done that this weekend, albeit we're disappointed with not one, but under the circumstances, I think, yeah, it's a reasonable point. And to be honest, I think on another day, I think we could have easily have scored a second. I actually thought we looked more like scoring than they did, but that is something that I've seen Palace fans throw at Glasner is that when he does come up against a low block, he does struggle. So Dyche probably did his homework, to be fair to him, and yeah, we've got a good point out of the game.
Yeah, I think the reason I ask about rolling the dice is because of how actually after the first maybe 15, 20 minutes of that second half, we rode a bit of a storm. And then we actually started to get up the pitch and we had a flurry of corners. We had a flurry of chances where we got to the edge of the box and we were just knackered. So shooting was a bit.
Well, he rolled the dice in the sense that he brought in Doyon, who, you know, a lot of fans were asking, you know, to be given a cameo up front after it was against Arsenal. Wanted to come on in Doy, where he looked pretty good. But I don't want to sound horrible, but he was dire when he come on.
Yeah, he was
really, really poor. I understand why he come on, because it's to obviously get you that pace up the pitch, but it just, just far too sluggish. Couldn't get with the pace of the game. So yeah, I don't think I thought he rolled the dice a little bit with that sub. He could have just, like, you know what I mean, let's say he brought Luca on, who's probably not very quick, and we just boomed it up to him, and then it's going to keep coming back. So, yeah, there was a bit of a plan there. It just didn't work in that sense because Ndoye was poor, but we had several opportunities second half. Like, you know, I think the biggest one was when Gibbs White and Sangari had gone forward, hadn't they? But they was just so knackered, bless them, both of them, because it just put in so much into the game that they kind of just got it wrong. But I did always feel that on the break, we could actually nick a goal from somewhere because, you know, Angus Gunn didn't make a save second half.
No shots on target from Palace in that second half. Yeah, I think for my thinking, it was just because Ola Heiner had so much joy. I thought, like, just as a wing back, he would have been like further up the pitch at least. But it is what it is. It's a good point, as you say, in the circumstances. Just going to get into a few more comments. Some of these that aren't always make sense, and I will ask you guys a few more questions as well. So, does everyone think? I can't remember. Oh, so Higgerty says, "Is Gunn still going to be our third choice, Christian, with Stefan Ortega coming in?" I'd assume he would now be second choice with Stefan Ortega coming straight in now. I'd assume
it depends on Sales' injury, I guess, doesn't it? Depends on how. Obviously, Ortega's got a good opportunity to sort of stake a claim for himself now. I mean, the thing is, this is as well. I mean, we talk about. I suppose where Big John was a bit of an unknown quantity to a degree. Obviously, the Brazilian league a bit older, whatever else. We all know how good Ortega is. We know that he was someone we've seen him in the last couple of years. We know he's a very good, dependable shot stopper. You know, he's someone that Pep's trusted, etc., etc. So we all know that it's just unfortunate for him that they signed James Trafford to replace Ellison, and then Donnarumma became on the market, and suddenly he was like, "Oh, I'm third choice at City." But yeah, I imagine depending on the severity of Sales' injury, Gunn will remain third choice. Obviously, John's out for a season, isn't he? So you can't really count him in any conversation at this moment in time. So it'll probably be Sales Ortega 1 and 2. Whoever gets that number 1 shirt though is going to be interesting because, like I said, Ortega wouldn't have come here to sit on the bench. He's got an opportunity now because Sales is injured. But yeah, we've got 2 very good goalkeepers as potential number 1s there, which. No, it's almost in reverse from like when we had Vlachodimos and Turner. We had 2 very questionable, well, one diabolically bad goalkeeper and one very suspect and questionable one. Whereas now we've got 2 that are very diabolical. But yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see what happens on that front.
Yeah, Reese. I mean, Ortega v Edison in Europa is a funny subplot. I don't know if we can swap Ortega because we put Gunn in on Europa League for emergency. Sub, I'm assuming. So I don't know if we can change that or what.
You can redo your team now, can't you? Because the group stage is finished.
Yeah. With 3 changes, but he might be coming as an emergency.
Yeah, he might be the new injury sub. So
could he? So could we put him in, but still have 3 changes then? Because Gunn's a temporary one, possibly. I'm not too sure. Yeah, well, put it this way: if Sells is obviously injured for a few weeks, he will be going in because we won't be going to Fenerbahce with no disrespect with Angus Gunn in goal and the only goalkeeper. He'll be going in. Yeah, if Sells is not fit for Leeds, Ortega will be starting. There'll be no doubt about that.
Yeah, definitely. Before we get into player performances, we're going to get into people's slept on it thoughts. But while you're here, do drop us a like and a subscribe. There's 157 people in here and lots of people getting involved in the comments. I'm enjoying that. So just going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors as well, Trent Side Threads. Please do check them out on trentsidethreads.co.uk. Use our code RSOT with 2 T's for 10% off. Lots of t-shirts and other nice things on there. And then also we have Vesta Blinds. Oh my goodness, I'm terrible today, guys. Again, it's all going downhill. VestaBlinds.com. Please do get in touch with them. They do stylish, high quality, made to measure blinds and shutters at a great price. Give your home the perfect finishing touch with stunning, expertly fitted window coverings from Vesta Blinds. So thank you very much for them sponsoring the podcast. We'll do your not so slept on it thoughts.
Red side of the Trent. Slept on it thoughts.
Greg Forrest, he put, did you see Woney at full time? Went up to MGW and repeatedly said, Morgan, you effing superb. I wholeheartedly agree. Been pleased and disappointed at the same time. Morgan's White was brilliant. He led by example when we were up against it. Capanosity in function. It looks like Forest aren't going to free themselves from relegation worries this season. Decent point in the circumstances, but every time the fates align, Forest really take advantage. Showed good character in the second half, but Palace were vulnerable. Very frustrating. Tom Newton, baffling to have Ndoye as the striker at the time. Possibly in weird way, it's justified. Martin Fretwell, under the circumstances, take about a point all day long, but 11 men, we win that. Palace are in a mess. Sammy Slack, it's a very hard fought point. The lads showing they have fight in them. I thought we still looked threatening with 10. Just a shame that Murillo and Neco had a brain fart, but a point gained onto Leeds. Jeffro, by far the better side with 11 men and still the better side with only 10. Can't fault the effort in the second half at all, but so many missed chances in the first half have cost us 2 points. Thank God West Ham bottled it yesterday. Surprised Palace didn't give it more of a go. Callum Shaw, would be interesting to see any stat in football that justify taking a red to avoid conceding. If it's 90 plus 5, fair enough, but it's cost us 2 points today. James R, that feels like 3 points, whereas we'd have drawn with 11, would have felt like a loss. Mark Baker, stupid as Neco was, our main problem again today was scoring an early goal and not going forward for a second and killing the game off. We're just happy to contain a 1-goal lead. Can't fault that second half. Let's get to safety and move on from Dyche safety first football. And last of all, Carl Booth, 11v11, we win that game no doubt. Shame for Neco, he's been great all season, will be a big miss. Thought we carried a threat even with a man down. 2 wins from the next 2 games, and I think its task is insurmountable for West Ham to catch us. Just before as well, actually, I wanted to ask you both, and Christian yourself, because you got to see this for probably a replay, I guess, and what tells me a lot of information is that Chidi Riyad gets taken off and dragged off in the second half when he could have been questionably been booked for a second booking for a foul on Igor Jesus. Someone on Twitter, I had this discussion because I posted it out saying I'm waiting for this apology from the PGML where they say they should have booked him and sent him off, similar to Ruben Diaz. And someone who is a Forest fan, Jack, said, well, Igor Jesus was looking for it. Well, is that not just clever football? Is that not just a clever player getting their body in between man and ball, and therefore you're forcing a player into a mistake? I personally think it was a blatant yellow card because of Glasner taking him off literally the next moment he got.
Yeah, I had a similar conversation with one of the Palace guys, reporters. He was saying that we took him off just because we were going more attacking. I was like, nonsense, absolute nonsense. He got hooked because literally 60 seconds after that he was subbed off. So like that says it all, really. Yeah, ref bottled it. That's the long and short of it. The ref absolutely bottled that because I know you can say there's a higher threshold for a second yellow. I don't buy that at all. Yellow's a yellow. He should have been booked. The only thing I can think of as to why he didn't give it was because there was an instant. I think it was towards maybe inside the second half. I can't remember where Gibbs White played Jesus through, and I didn't think it was going to come to much, but Jesus actually showed a nice little deft flick and managed to wriggle through, and then he overhit the ball, and then he just went down. And to be fair, he probably could have been booked for that for simulation, and if he had, he wouldn't have had any complaints, nor could we, because that was very silly of him. So maybe the referee's thought in his mind, he should chuck himself again. But then surely, if you're officiating, you want to stamp that out. You say to him, look, I'll book you, or I have booked you, whatever else. Yeah. It's odds, but yeah, the long and short of it, the referee bottled that because that was very clearly a second yellow card. Yeah, I mean, what more can you say? the fact it wasn't even a foul was bad enough. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'd say in the main the officials weren't too bad today. There was a little spell towards the second half where I thought, okay, this is getting a bit like pulling out of his control a little bit, but then he reined it back in. Fair enough. But that was he did get that one wrong. I'm sorry, there's yeah.
I mean, Reece, did you have any thoughts on it in the ground?
I've not seen a replay, mate, so I can't really comment. I do know Jack is a really nice guy. To be fair, he does listen to the pod as well. So yeah, I'll have to take Christian's word for it. But to be fair, Jesus does like going down easily at times. So the referees will, we've got a few players who like doing that. Yates is one for it. He was told to get up a couple of times as well, second half. The referees do, I think, know what players do try and go down a little bit easy. So that is probably a reason why it's gone against him there. Because like Christian said, there was one in the first half where when players shut themselves down on the floor, it's going to be in a referee's mind that's just human nature. You're going to think, oh, he's trying to con me. Because to be fair, second half, and we nearly achieved it. I think the first opening period of the second half, we was actively trying to get one of their players sent off. And it nearly worked. Because pushed Yates in the face near enough. Like we said, there was that incident what we've just spoken about.
Jefferson Lerma's like moved Morato away with his head.
Yeah, there's that.
Surprised that was allowed to get away with
I think
that.
a few senior pros went over to Pina. I think Hughes was 1-1 and said, look, we're against 10 men here. Let's not make it 10v10, because had that been the case, I think the pendulum would have swung back in our favour. So yeah, I can't really comment, mate, because it wasn't on the highlight package, unfortunately, and in the ground, it's obviously near the main stand, and we're Upper Bridgeford, aren't we? So it's hard to see.
I just felt like, because I mean it's a great kick from Gunn, and Jesus is running through on goal. I just figured, like, you're through on goal, right? You don't need to get the man sent off. You could probably make that get to make that decision
what the
for
frustration is, I think, with having VAR is that we can't check with second yellows. We can't check to give a second yellow, and we can't check to take away a second yellow. We saw it with Willy Bolly, didn't we, against Bournemouth, the famous one. I mean, that's just such a simple rule to put in and implement, and we don't, IFAB don't seem to want to do it. I just don't understand that personally, but football does beg a belief at times.
Yeah, definitely. Like, let's get into some player performances. Christian, I'm going to give you Ibrahim Sangare. Ibrahim. I always call him Ibrahim. It's Ibrahim. I thought he was brilliant, and then tasked with like pretty much covering Daniel Munoz, which is, I mean, I never knew Sangare had got that kind of in his locker in terms of an engine, but I thought he did brilliantly, and again, another good performance from him.
Yeah, fantastic again. I mean, no, I mentioned obviously Neco earlier as a player of the season contender. Sangare is absolutely in that boat as far as I'm concerned. He's been tremendous this season. He was again today. He shields the back four so well. He gets stuck in. I think Andy Reid was saying, like, he's such an awkward number 6 to go up against, because obviously he's so tall. He's got such long legs. He can just get the ball where you think you've got it. You think you've gone past him. He just jams a leg out and wins the ball. Like, some of his turning today was so good. Like, he's a brilliant footballer. He's so intelligent on the ball. I've banged this drum for years. And obviously there's been so many caveats to him as well, because obviously the guy had malaria. He went to Africa. He lost a lot of weight. He came back, and we all know as well. Like, we watch Premier League football. If you lose some weight and you come back undercooked on the strength, you're going to get bullied. And when you're adapting as is, it's not ideal. Goes to Africa. Mane nearly takes his ankle off. He's had so much to go for. Obviously, he comes in with Nuno, first choice midfield, like, rips his hamstring. He's not had an easy. I mean, you talk about like Lee's quote, obviously the easy way, the hard way, the forest way. I mean, that sums up Sangare's time with the club, really.
Yeah,
he's just not had a clean. Now he's finally had a clean break. We're finally seeing like how good he is and like how agile he is, how mobile he is. Like, I mean, there's like lots of people who said that he couldn't play in a 2. That's long gone now. We can see he's very clearly physically able to play in this league. He's got the pace. He's got the engine for it. He was brilliant today. He was just really, really good. Anderson plays so much better with him next to him. They've struck up a really good pairing and partnership in midfield now. But again, like, he's Mr. Consistent in the same way we praised Dominguez last season for always being at least a 7 out of 10. So Sangare this season, as a bare minimum, you'll get a 7 out of him the way he's playing at the minute.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he'll have 2 years left of his contract in the summer.
Yeah,
I mean,
time down. Get him a new deal.
yeah. I mean, you've answered it for me.
Just something to note on Sangare, the last 6 games he's played, if we take away Braga, where he was on for 8 minutes, we've won 4 and drew 2, whereas the 6 games he was missing during AFCON, we won 1, we technically drew 1 to Wrexham and lost 4. So, last 6 games with him being a present, if we take away the Braga game where he's got 8 minutes, I don't think that was on him. We're unbeaten in 6 games and 4 of them are wins. So,
yeah, it's
that's a big positive.
Clearly having a big impact, especially with like that back 5 as well. So that's good. I mean, Ortega being in goal with that back 4 in front of him as well, I think that'll be giving him confidence straight away.
We saw how well Anderson played again as well today, because he was very good first half.
Yeah. Well, good timing, Reese. I'm giving you Elliot Anderson.
Yeah, I thought first half, like I say, was excellent. Just on the ball, he's kind of back to his best once on the ball. Whereas second half, it was one of them where he kind of got to work hard off the ball, and you didn't really see as much, which was a shame. But yeah, it would have been, I guess, from a neutral point of view, to see him and Adam Wharton go up against one another. But obviously, he got himself sent off last week. So yeah, Sangare and Anderson are just, you'd probably say they're undroppable at the minute, aren't they, as a pair? They're just not going to get dropped if they're fully fit. So it's probably one of the reasons why Douglas Luiz has gone, because he's played today, for example, started for a side who were chasing the title. So you can understand his frustration in that aspect. So yeah, I'm just hoping they can both stay fit for the rest of the season, because they've struck up a brilliant partnership. And I thought Anderson was back to his best today. I thought it was really good first half, and like I said, second half it was more about the grafting side of the game because of the situation, unfortunately. But yeah, good.
Yeah, I mean, in that first half, he did some, amazing things about negging people
ball
and all.
Controls sublime, and that's why obviously he's a full England international and a Champions League winning manager wants him in the England setup, and the top clubs are courting him. It's not because he's a flash in the pan, is it? He's a technically superb footballer.
The 2 Manchester clubs are going to have a bidding war. Although one of my Man United mates thinks, "Oh no, it's Man United. They'll outbid anyone." I'm thinking, I don't think so. But
he's better than United. And United are the biggest club in the country, in my opinion. But he's better than what United are at the minute. United are still a long, long way away from competing like they used to. A long way away.
Yeah.
And you'd probably look at it and think, well, if I go to Man City, I'm already at the top table.
Yeah, I suppose it's just money talks. You look at like Cunha and Buema going there, but we'll move on. I'm going to give you both Morgan Gibbs-White. I'm going to start with yourself though, Christian. I thought do you know at the start of the season where you're kind of a bit unsure about where his head was at? I know the first game of the season he was absolutely brilliant, but fans were very much like, well, does he want to go? Does he not want to go? Does he want to be here? Whatever. I think since Starch has come in, I have to say, I think he's been back to his best personally. I think and today I thought he was excellent in both halves. I just thought he really showed why he's more or less the match day captain. Like, I don't take nothing away from Yates being club captain, but I think this is why he's our vice captain and is captain most weeks, because I just thought he led by example today, took his goal well, and then just did everything else, all the dirty work that you need from someone who's fighting for the team, really.
Yeah, he was absolutely magnificent today. Absolutely magnificent today. And I am a big Gibbs-White fan. I've made no apologies for that, but some of the things I've seen about, spoken about him, some of the sort of conjecture that's been said about him and stuff like that, it's been absolutely ludicrous. I think again, we all sort of seem to forget as well, that Brentford game was a whole month after the whole Spurs debacle, and obviously he was pretty much basically man of the match that day, or contender for it. We don't know anything that goes on. All we know is that regarding his personal life, for example, I can't imagine how difficult that might have been. All we were told was difficult pregnancy. We don't know what that entailed. We don't know how severe that was. We don't know how that affects people behind closed doors. We just expect them to be robots and turn up and play. They're humans. They're going to have off days. They're going to have periods where they're not feeling themselves personally. We don't know. I found it was just very reductive and very, simplistically just say, "Oh, he's had his head turned by Spurs," and literally every time he's had a bad game, "Oh, he's not in it. His heart's not in it." It's just absolute bullshit. I'm sorry, like it's like so, it's just been absolute like colossal load of nonsense. So, and you're right. Since Dyche has come in, I think what pleased me today most was that he was actually getting in the pockets and actually looking to create. I don't know whether that's because it was like such a transitional game, like Reece alluded to earlier, like the basketball feel to it. So he actually had more space to do that. But he hasn't been doing that on the Dyche. He hasn't been. No, he's been mainly playing as like a second striker, or just defending basically. So we haven't seen him like we know he can, like picking balls out and like setting a striker through on goal or whatever else, or making things happen with his feet. Normally, he's the one that's been on the end of it. He's been the one scoring the goals, and obviously, again, today that's 6th for the season in the league. Now he's our top scorer in the Premier League. I think that matches last year's tally as well. I'm pretty sure he got 6th in the league last year too. So we've still got 14 games to go. It's very conceivable he gets double figures in the league this season. And we've all said, if he wants to take the next step, he needs to be getting more goals. Well, he's doing that now. So, again, he was tremendous. I mean, you saw him at the end of the game, like he was just absolutely exhausted. So he gave his absolute all for Forest today. He represented the badge as well as you could wish a captain to do so. I know obviously Yates came on and took the armband off him, but we all know Gibbs White's the real captain. Come off it. Like you even saw it in the player videos when Hutchinson said "Happy Birthday, Skipper" to him. Like they all see him as a captain as well because he's the one that starts every game. He's the one that leads by example. He's a talisman. He certainly was today. That was an England level performance from him today, and it's just unfortunate for him. There are so many world-class players in that position. You've got Bellingham, like Palmer, Foden, Morgan Rogers, Eze. They're all vying for that slot. So it's just unfortunate. In another time, he'd probably be like starting fairly regularly, but alas, it's not the case. Yeah. But no, he was absolutely fantastic today.
Yeah. Sorry, Reece, that Christian has basically probably stole all your thunder, but
no, that's all right. No, I mean, touching on the England thing, you'll probably be looking at it. Well, Bellingham's gone off with a hamstring injury today in tears, so that is concerning if you're an England fan. Eze's not playing much at the minute. Phil Foden's gone right off the boil. He'll probably go because it's Phil Foden, but Cole Palmer has not played. I think he's only played a half of football on the Tuchel since he's come in. Obviously, Morgan Rogers seems to be Tuchel's man, so he'll be going. So he'll look at it and think, if I have a strong end to the season, who knows? He might, be in the March squad, for example, getting the March squad impress. You never know. That's the mentality you've got to think as a footballer. But yeah, I agree with Christian. He got 7 last season. This was his 6th today, so he's one off that. But he got 15 goal contributions in all comps last season. He's on 8 this season, so hopefully can get up to that become end of the season, which he is capable. But yeah, he was excellent. So the goal he scored, mate. The finish wasn't easy. He has to chest it down and connect with it really well, which he does. Places it with a side foot, and then he ran himself into the ground, mate. He was visibly shattered by the end, and I was actually crying for Dyche to take him off, really, because it would be bad if he was to pull up with a muscle injury, because we need all the quality players we can get. You saw the level of difference when he come on at Wrexham. The first half performance wasn't good enough. He grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck second half. I know it's championship opposition, but for what we churned out in the first half, that's what I'm expecting from these type of players, to take games by the scruff of the neck, when you're rated at £60 million. So yeah, he was brilliant today. And I think what I will say about Morgan is that, I think it was clear he probably wanted to go to Tottenham. I understand that personally. The bright lights of London and Tottenham are, I'll say it quietly, a bigger club, etc., with a bigger stadium and Champions League football, which have got into the knockout stages, to be fair to them. But I don't think he's ever not tried for Forest. It's more his form had dipped a little because things weren't coming off. I didn't think he'd just down tools or anything like that. I think that is, I don't agree with anyone throwing that at him personally. So yeah, I thought he was excellent today. And it was between him and Sangai for me as man of the match. He got man of the match in the ground, and I can't argue with that. I thought that's exactly the performance you want from a player like that when the chips are down, because it was second half, because we only had 10 men.
Yeah, I think him and Jesus are starting to form a bit of a nice partnership, starting to try and find each other quite a lot. I mean,
yeah, getting a bit closer to one another, which is But I agree with what Christian said. Because it was such a transitional basketball game, I think that's what allowed in that extra space. I think you could clearly see that Palace missed Wharton in midfield today. There was a lot of space in the centre of the field. And, Will Hughes, like I said earlier, is a solid Premier League midfielder, but he's not probably going to get around as much as Wharton because Hughes must be in his 30s now.
Yeah.
So he's not the most mobile. He's more of a dictator, and as you saw late on, it was always coming to him in the middle of the pitch. It's just that he decided to boom it over the bar every time, didn't he? So
yeah. We're going to talk about some transfers. Obviously, Stefan Ortega has come in with a deal till the end of the season, £500,000, which I think is really good value at 33. Probably someone in his prime now, and still got a lot of years. So hopefully, if he can impress, we might sign him, and that's two decent keepers going forward, unless Sells goes at the end of the season. But I'm trying to think where we're looking. I mean, Robin Gosens has been linked from Fiorentina after Mateus Oliveira's looks like he's not going to come from Napoli after Di Lorenzo's been injured for Napoli, so they need to keep a left back. But so I mean, Christian, where do you think? You say this every season that we've been doing this pod. Marinakis loves deadline day, so I mean, how much are you expecting, or are you? What's your feeling?
Yeah, I think we will be busy tomorrow. There's no doubt. I mean, obviously, we had 35 million from Mateta down the back of the sofa that we apparently found. So if we're willing to spend that, I'm sure that'll go somewhere else. I think what concerns me is that, and this isn't just aimed at Deitch, this is a club from the top down, really. I'd argue we're actually weaker now than we were at the start of January. We're a midfielder down. Okay, we spent 2-3 weeks trying to replace Kama Wendo because we didn't have anyone in the doors, and that massively hampered us in Europe. We all talk about the missed penalty, but equally we had no out the entire game in a insipid 1 out of 10 at best performance. Could that have been different if there was a striker on the pitch? Probably. Just at least to have something to aim or hit, whatever else, or to play off. But so, and obviously we still haven't replaced Luiz. No, Zinchenko's gone now. That's not bad news. But equally, it still leaves a spot that's void. And obviously now we've got Savona injured. So going into a crucial match next week against Leeds, we currently have one available fullback, which is piss poor. I'm sorry, it is. You've got Savona injured. Okay, that's no fault of his own. Fine. Neco suspended. Okay. Pretty unique circumstances to how he got that suspension, but still poor. Again, it feels like we're leaving it a bit too late. I mean, I don't worry. We know what Marinakis is like. We know that he won't leave the club in a weak position and he'll find a way through. But I have a feeling that we could be very frustrated tomorrow. And I can see us panicking and just, I mean, even now, Gosens, I mean, he would have been great when we first got promoted. I mean, Reece, you're touting him as like a potential left back option when we first got up. That was 4 years ago. He's 31 now. Is he going to be all right? We've seen as well, like the transition from Serie A into the Premier League is very difficult. So I don't know. That's my main concern.
Gosens is German international, his experience.
Yeah.
So I guess that's well, that's if obviously he comes, but we will be scrambling around now, and we would have known. To be fair, that Zinchenko's been going since the Wrexham game. So
yeah, so this is what I mean. Like, it's not like, don't worry, I'm not one of these fans that expects it to be like Football Manager or FIFA. Like you remember FIFA had like a 10-hour countdown on deadline day. You sign someone in seconds. I'm not naive enough to think that's how it works in football, but equally, I did think there'd be a bit more succession planning and less short-term thinking, which it's really plagued us, especially like this season. And yeah.
Well, I mean, I said in the summer personally that we needed a left-footed left back, and Kouibano's a deal what Marinakis has done with Textor. I think it's clear what he wasn't even getting in Botafogo's team, so he's not going to be good enough for Forest. He's just not. That Nathan said that. He looked very green in that under 23s game, didn't he? So he's not at the required level. That's why the club are looking at moving him on. That's just a text to Marinakis PSR deal, isn't it? It's a shame really we didn't kind of invest in a younger left-footed left-back in the summer. That Josh Doig's always been mentioned as one anti. I can't say I've seen lots of him, but he's always someone who comes up. And then we end up, like we did in the summer, getting Zinchenko. We end up scrambling around someone. We nearly signed Javi Galán, didn't he? Who's now at Osasuna, for example. So he's clearly on the way down. So, yeah, it's something that needs to be looked at in the summer, if, you know, with you stay up. There's quite a few positions that need looking at in the summer.
We were linked with Bradley Locko, and then he went and did his ACL, didn't he?
Yeah, which was a shame. Well, Truffet was obviously another, but, you know, he was going to always play at Bournemouth, wasn't he? He'll be looking ahead and thinking, I want to get in that French World Cup squad.
Just think if we kept Alex Moreno, he would have played loads of this season.
The thing is, though, mate, you know, when he was good when he come in, and then when he played against the likes of Exeter, he was poor, and fans were getting on his back. So, you know, you need a permanent solution. It's something that we've always had, hasn't it? I think from Pierce, really. We obviously signed Alan Rodgers, and then I remember my early days of going to watch Forest. We always struggled for a left back. We ended up signing Rodgers back on loan at some point. And then,
there used to be that joke in all the forums, wasn't it? Can he play left back?
Well, obviously, then we had Julian Bennett, and he got a serious injury. And then, I mean, during the Billy era, it was loan fullbacks. It was Bertrand, or it was Kincheski, it was Nicky Shorey. And then even in Dougie era, Jokic. Cohen, who was a centre mid, played there. So
got crocked.
It has always been a position, I think, probably since Psycho left, that the club has, you know, sometimes replaced a little bit, but not fully. And we're back at the situation now where technically his left back, although be it very good, Neco, was actually brought as a right back. So it's something that needs addressed. And I think it wouldn't surprise me if there's a few private jets parked up in various locations. I think Napoli will probably be rubbing their hands together that Neco got sent off today, because it wouldn't surprise me if we went back in with a much bigger loan fee.
But this is what I'm saying, though. If
Di Lorenzo's
Champions
League now, is Di Lorenzo injured? But he's a right back in Di Lorenzo.
No, he plays left side.
Okay, but they probably might, because they've gone out of the Champions League. But I don't know.
Well, if Di Lorenzo is a right-sided player, they might put Spinazzola there. I mean, we're talking about Serie A, we don't need to, but you know.
But like Christian said, there'll be plenty of rumours tomorrow. There will be, like, you know, Gossens has only just come up today. We've not been linked within this window. I've not seen. There'll be somebody else tomorrow. Trust me. Forest, because of the situation today as well, will probably be scrambling around. I mean, as it stands, you're probably going to have Aina at left back and Abbott at right back. And let's be honest, no disrespect to Zach, but he's not a right back. He's a centre back. You know, he does an okay job there, but he's not a right back. So it's square pegs in round holes, as a former manager used to say.
I mean, obviously today we chucked Murillo, we shifted Murillo there. I mean, for me, I think
Morato, he's got a mistake in him.
I think personally, I'd rather go with a 3 and put Jai Cunha in at right centre half and Murillo left centre half and Milenkovic, and then you go with wing backs and put Aina in.
He's another one who I don't think Dyche fancies. He's not played at all apart from Wrexham, has he? I mean, to be honest, he'd be ahead of Morato for me. I think I'm not one of these who dislikes Morato as much as some others. I actually think 90% of the time he's decent, but he's got a mistake in him. Like today, when he let the ball bounce. I mean, that's something at Sunday League level. And I just think if he was to play at centre-back with Milenkovic at Leeds, I think Calvert-Lewin would play on him, and he'd relish that in the air, because Calvert-Lewin's very good in the air.
I suppose, to be fair, the only thing that could counter that is that we went to Everton last season, ironically when Dyche was their manager. They had Calvert-Lewin up front that day, and
I think Brozier played that day.
I'm sure Brozier played. Either way,
but they just boomed it, didn't they? Yeah, that was a typical boom performance.
And they dealt that fine, but it's funny when Morato, isn't it? Like, he's like the second coming of Tobias Figueiredo, isn't he? In that, you know, he's mostly solid, but there is a mistake there somewhere. Yeah.
I mean, the other player that we've had a bid rejected for today, I mean, if you believe all reports, is Engels from Celtic. Reece, you follow Scottish football sometimes. I mean, you Celtic's your team up there. I mean, have you watched him? Have you watched him much? Like, or do you know anything much about him?
Yeah,
he's a Belgian international.
Yeah, he got 4 caps for Belgium in the last Nations League, but he's not played for them for a year. I think he's Celtic's record signing. They paid about 10, 11 million euros for him. So I think it's him or Adam Eder, who was a disaster and be offloaded to Swansea. But yeah, he's got a bit of pedigree, because obviously I think he come from Leipzig, like I say, Belgian international. I don't think well, you could say you don't play for them if you're not any good, but Bart Fast plays for him and he's crap. So you never know. So yeah, I just couldn't see that deal happening unless we was to offer probably 20, 25 million with them paying 10 million for him. I've seen Martin O'Neill says he doesn't want him to go. I mean, Celtic have been, if you don't know much about Scottish football, have been struggling all season in terms of the transfer market. The fans are at war with the board because of it, because of not invested. That's why they got knocked out the Champions League by a team from Kazakhstan. So I couldn't imagine that move happening. I'd be very surprised. And from his perspective, he's going to play regular football at Celtic. He's not going to get in our team at the minute. Let's be honest. It'd be a squad player. So I couldn't see that happening personally. Maybe in the summer when we've got to restructure and, maybe Anderson will probably go and maybe Gibbs White goes, but I can't see that happening. But Ortega's a smart bit of business, 500,000. That's nothing. We probably just paid his wages up from City. But yeah, we definitely need a left back. Centre mid, I think we're okay, but it obviously depends on, the fitness of Sangare and Anderson, keeping them fit. Striker, I mean, if Tyro's going to stay, you've got 3 strikers. I mean, we've had 2 on the bench today and we've not used them. So do we need another striker for one position? Probably not. The only other thing what I think may happen tomorrow is I have a feeling that Bakker might end up on loan somewhere. I mean, he wanted in the squad today. I don't think Dyche fancies him at all. He didn't play much on Thursday when it was an ample opportunity. It wouldn't surprise me if he went on loan somewhere and we ended up getting McNeil in. But then
if you take Bakker out, then you're a squad man down probably in Europa League.
Yeah,
we
did that with Callum Mwende, so clearly it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, but you can replace. At least we can replace Callum Mwende. Do you know what I mean?
But we needed him for their 2 games. One game what we lost and cost us top 8 is now seen as get a really difficult tie because of that. But one of the reasons why, because we had to play a winger up front.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, strange, very strange. Before we finish, I'm going to talk about the Fenerbahce tie in a little bit more detail. I mean, Reece, I know you've already booked your flight to go to Istanbul, but Christian, I mean, are you planning to go? And what's your thoughts on the tie? I know we spoke about it briefly on Friday, but let's speak about it a bit more.
Yeah, I won't be going to your away leg. No, as much as I'd love to, I can't. Yeah, it's just. Picking and choosing, I think the ties. I think, yeah. If also, I don't know. If I am going to go to Istanbul, it'll be for the final. I don't want it to be for a round of 32 game. So we'll be optimistic. But I think it's a great tie on paper. I mean, yeah, it's difficult. It's the one that I openly said when we did our sort of Ferencvaros sort of preview. The one that I would want to avoid. But on the other side of that, it is. These are sort of ties that we wanted when we got into this competition. We wanted a proper test like this. This is a serious European tie. We're not playing like Dross, who most championship teams would beat, which I apply to Ferencvaros and Malmo. Being perfectly honest, you're looking at this is a proper team here. Fenerbahce, these are European stalwarts. They've got a lot of like big names that we've seen over the years. I think that's what mostly concerns me, because these players, they'll know that, they'll probably apply themselves so much in the group. But look, someone's finished their top 24, who cares? Just get through the group. We'll worry about this. Look, we'll start playing afterwards. They've been down this road many, many times before. So we'll probably face that with Fred and whatever else. But no, it's a good test. This is, like I said, this is a really proper, it should be a really good couple of European nights for the club. And one that I think that, again, we've got a very good chance of progressing through. We've got a very good squad. The way we're playing at the minute, it's about, I was very critical. I still am very critical of Sean Dyche, but you have to give credit where it's due. You can't just be one way. Something has clearly changed over the last couple of weeks or so since that Braga game. Whether that was a watershed moment, I don't know. But even today, we looked a lot. Today, the way we played today, that could have been first half. That was very much cut and paste from last season. I thought the way we were sort of moving the ball forwards, the way we were looking to attack and probe, the way you had Gibbs White looking to slip passes in, for example. We weren't just booming it up with no out. We weren't just crossing the ball. My main worry going in today was we'd be swinging in crosses like against Everton, but to a small forward who had 3 centre-backs on him, which is something that I honestly think a few weeks ago Dyche would have done. So yeah, so fair play to him if he slightly changed it because we look better for it. I mean, yeah, that's an exciting game. You can't get yourself up for that. What can you? That's proper. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, Reece, with you making the trip and everything. I mean, you wanted Red Star for the kind of dive of a proper Eastern European, but I think Turkey's just as good, if anything, if not better.
Yeah, I think, God, when we dreamt of these European dives 5 years ago, you'd have probably said to yourself, "Oh, I'd love to go to Turkey and play someone like a Galatasaray and Fenerbahce and kind of." I know it's a ball ache in terms of the waiting around, etc., but it's all about the experience, isn't it? I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I agree with Christian. I think it will be a proper intense European tie. I don't think we'd have had probably since probably the Porto and the Betis games. I think they were the two most intense, weren't they? I think they were very 50-50 fixtures. I think this will be the exact same. They've got some very good players, individual players. You look at them as a team, and obviously when you see how far down of finishing Europa League, it does beg a question: are they a team of individuals? But we'll see. I think the aim personally is just to go to Turkey and avoid defeat, and then bring them back to the City Ground if we can do that. Whether that's a draw or a win, because it don't matter with away goals anymore, and then turn them over at home. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I just think I just hope we can go there because it's going to be probably an atmosphere I don't think many Forest fans would have experienced, and it's going to be really hostile. And we've just got to go over there and just make sure we don't buckle under that atmosphere and come away with a point or a win. But yeah, it's a proper 50-50, and I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it.
We'll take a point in the knockouts.
Yeah, take a point, Cole, in the knockouts. Yeah, because we're capable of beating them. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, I know. You guys said maybe they didn't take their group as seriously, but I mean, if Ferencváros can control there and we pasted them up 50%, then I don't fear Fenerbahce personally. I mean, they've got some all right players who've played in the Premier League, but like you say, could be a team of individuals. None of those players individually, players individually scare me at all.
Yeah,
really.
but they have got quality, so it'd be a good game. I think it'll be a good tie. My hope is that we just don't go over there and buckle under that atmosphere, because it will be, I think, for some of them players, probably not something they've experienced before. But then on the flip side, we have got players who are experienced in Europe. Milenkovic has played for Partizan. Murillo's played in Argentina now with Brazil. Neco Williams has been about with Liverpool. Sangare played at Ibrox, for example, for PSV in a qualifier. We know what the atmosphere is like there. And they're just a few examples. I'm sure Igor Jesus has played in some atmospheres for Botafogo. So, I'm just hoping we can turn them over and, carry on this European run, because that's what it's all about for me.
Yeah, absolutely. We play Leeds on Friday night. I know we might be doing a pod on to come out on the Thursday, I believe, if anything, or Wednesday. I can't remember now. You've sorted it, haven't you, Reece?
Yeah, Thursday morning possibly, but that depends on who can do it. I don't think I'll be able to, as it stands.
Yeah, well, but if it happen not to do one, we'll speak about it quickly in here. I mean, Christian Leeds, then we're level on points with them, and they've obviously turned their form around since we played them at home, and they got beat quite badly against Arsenal, got maybe brought back down to earth a little bit. But what a massive game that is at Ellen Road, and again, another opportunity to pull us further away from West Ham and that bottom three.
Well, yeah, massively. I mean, we've got a chance, even temporarily, to go 9 points clear of West Ham on Friday, and that's a big sight. I mean, again, I mentioned about how they'll be feeling psychologically after the last couple of results. Obviously, they got 2 wins in a row, and they were still 5 points off. 2-0 up at the Bridge and lost. It's like, yeah, it can't be easy, because these are hammer blows. These are sort of blows that, without wanting to jinx it, you tend to get in a season where you get an R next to your name, because they're tough. That's tough breaks. So yeah, we can really put some pressure on them and really squeeze that if we get something out there. I think, to be honest, a point would be a pretty good result if we could get that. I would ideally want more, but Leeds they are a lot better than they were when they're not the same Leeds that we played at City Grounds and made a bit of a mockery of. Really, we all looked at them and thought, Jesus Christ, Aldi's in the Prem. Since then, they've clearly shown how and why they are and why they deserve to be. So, obviously they've switched to a free to back now. Sorry, obviously Calvert-Lewin, he was scoring goals. They've dried up, which means he'll probably score against us. But no, I mean it's a big game. There's no denying that. It's a very big game, and I can't really imagine it being a great game of football, really, because it's going to be a game that neither team want to lose. I think, for obvious reasons, but yeah, the way we played first half today, we can sort of left back out in the window, and hopefully there's a pretty nice bedding in period for them, and they can sort of hit the proverbial ground running. There's no reason why we can't go there and get 3 points. They are we're a good team. I still maintain we're in a false position, and also you look at Leeds. The Leeds fans will be thinking, Jesus, they've just been smacked 4-0 by Arsenal, and they're thinking, hang on, Forest drew with these. Like, are they really are likely relegation contender? So, we've got reasons to be optimistic going over there. When we talk about tough atmospheres, that place will be rocking. Night match on the lights at Ellen Road, it'll be absolutely rocking. So it's on us to overcome that. It's on us to sort of play the game, not the occasion, sort of thing. But yeah, of course we can go there with optimism and confidence. There's no reason not to.
Yeah. Score prediction.
1-1.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take that. I mean, it's always been good games against Leeds, Reece. So, I mean, expecting another one, as Christian said, Friday Night Lights. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Sky picked a cracker in the sense of what it means. Yeah, Friday night under the lights at Ellen Road, the atmosphere they'll be up for it. I'd expect a reaction from them after getting thumped, which, to be fair, is something we've been good at under Dyche. When we have had a bad performance, it's usually followed up by a good one. Braga, for example, shocking, go and beat Brentford away. So I think there'll be a reaction from them because Farker has got them going. But they have drew a lot of games, haven't they? They've not won many, but they've drew a lot, which, every point counts when you're at this end of the league. So it'll be a tough game. I mean, I said about these 3 games, Palace, Leeds, Wolves, that would need a minimum of 6. So the only way we get that now is if we go to and beat Leeds, which is a tough ask, but it is Forest, and we do like doing stuff the hard way, so it wouldn't surprise me. But it's going to be a tough game. And then with my heart, I'm going to say it'll be a draw, but it wouldn't surprise me if Leeds won it personally.
Yeah, well, fair. I mean, we've last 2 Premier League games we've won. We beat West Ham, we beat Brentford, so we're going in away from home in actually decent form. And then
it's going to be a battle, no doubt about it. We've got to be up for it. We went, didn't we, to the one what we lost 2-1 in the first season when we went ahead through Mangala and then we just completely folded.
Yeah.
We can't have that type of thing again. I know that was a long time ago, but we've got to go up there and we've got to battle because they'll battle with that crowd. So yeah, it'll be a tough game. I'm hoping we can, after drawing today with the circumstances, I'm hoping we can go up there and win really, because that'd be massive, because then you're going into the weekend 3 points above them and also level on points with Palace and Tottenham. I think Tottenham have got Man U at home away next weekend, which you'd fancy United with the form they're in at the minute. And Palace have got Brighton away, which I know is their make-believe derby, but Brighton are capable of beating Palace. So there is a world where we could be on the same points as them next weekend, but it's Forest, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fairly optimistic because of what I've been seeing away from home, and like we said earlier in the pod, it looks like the team have actually started to really fight for Dyche, where we thought actually a couple of weeks ago we wasn't sure about that. So we've definitely got it within us to win. I do think we're a better side than Leeds, but their home crowd likes to get behind them, and again the occasion might help that. And our job, I think, first 20-30 minutes is really get that crowd down and take the sting out of the game if we can. And I mean, if we score and can do that, then that'll be brilliant, and not let wingers and stuff run at us like in that first season, Reece, where Somerville and Jack Harrison just kept running at us and we just kept backing off.
We've come a long way since then, haven't we? Neco was poor, a bit naive, wanted that season, and obviously Navas parried that one out into Jack Harrison, if I remember correctly. So, there's definitely on paper we've got more quality than Leeds. We've got a player, for example, we've got 2 centre mids, or a centre mid and number 10 who we're valuing it probably 150 million combined for him. So, there's no players of that quality in the Leeds side, but you've got to go and apply yourself. So I'm hoping we can go and do that and show us quality like we did in the home game when, second half we took them to the cleaners, didn't we, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for everyone that's got in touch and joined us here. 250 people. Please do drop a like and a subscribe. It's all free content, so it does go a long way to helping us and run the podcast, basically. Savona has more of a chance of starting than Williams. I guess he does. Yeah.
Cubano's got more chance of starting than Williams, technically.
And it's also been followed up with don't want Morato starting at Leeds. Well, it might happen because Murillo might play left back, but we'll see. Anything to add before we go, Reece, Christian?
No, I think we're good, mate.
No, nothing for me. I haven't got a fun fact. You need to get Elliot's on that regular. But no,
he says he's got. I seen him in the nav. Actually, he says he's got lots saved up.
Yeah, you had the Sangare fact earlier on.
That's fair enough. But you can't take his job, right? Okay.
No way. That's untouchable on FM.
But that's it. No, thank you very much for everyone.
Icon of the pod.
Yeah, thank you very much that everyone's joined. We'll see you in the next one. Either there'll be one out in the week potentially. If not, we'll be doing a review Saturday morning, I'd imagine, with everyone talking about hopefully a positive result of some sorts. But until then,